So, to Greece. Greece has proposed a new two-year bailout programme to its creditors. That's the headline news just in the last few minutes. This would be a third bailout for the cash-strapped country, though what it entails is still unknown. Greece is edging closer to defaulting on its $1.6 billion payment due today to one of its creditors, the International Monetary Fund. That deadline is just hours away. The Greek Finance Minister, Yanis Varoufakis, had not too much to say about it. The country's not only getting any further bailout funding from Europe, though. There are rumours circulating that Athens and the EU are still trying to strike a deal. You're getting that impression now. RT's Harry Fears in the Greek capital with the latest.
On the streets of Athens, needless to say, much anxiety amongst ordinary folk about the financial situation. But what do business owners think about the dire economic situation and its future? Let's find out.
I think I would vote for no, as in not to accept the terms.
Why?
Why? Because I think they're not viable as they are at the moment. I mean, it's just an ongoing situation that will not improve the lives, at least, of people in Greece.
On Sunday in the referendum, how will you vote?
For sure, no. And I can see no intention from the European Union to give us the opportunity to stand again on our feet. And if they're not going to give us a chance, we're going to take it by ourselves.
And use the drachma again?
Yeah, of course.
No shortage of questions then, or livelihood-threatening concerns for businesses to ponder. The message clearly that after this years-long financial crisis, something has to give, and the change needs to happen now. In Athens, I'm Harry Fear, RT.
And still in Athens, as you can see, there are a massive show of solidarity. These are pictures from last night for Greece's government, Monday night. Thousands of people storming onto the streets, protesting against austerity and urging voters to reject the EU bailout terms on Sunday's referendum. The conditions have been dismissed by the Greek government as humiliating. It seems that's the sentiment shared by many in Athens last night too. Should the creditors' terms be accepted? Finally, that's the question Greeks are going to have to say yes or no on in Sunday's bailout referendum. It mentions nothing about leaving the Eurozone, though, which is how some European leaders have been painting that vote. For his part, Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras has been urging people to reject the deal.
They will not kick us out of the Eurozone. The economic cost is too great. Should we accept this vicious circle? No. That's why we are letting the Greek people decide. We are calling on you to reject the deal. The more people reject it, the greater our leverage at the negotiation table.
Worth bearing in mind, 2 years ago, the IMF admitted that it had failed to realise the damage austerity policies would cause in Greece, but nevertheless continued with that programme. The failures included a deep recession and exceptionally high unemployment. Euroscepticism is growing in other EU countries too that are faced with austerity measures. We went to Rome and also to Madrid to ask people how they would vote if they were offered the chance to exit the euro right now.
Por salir del euro. Si un país no funciona con un tipo de moneda, una economía, ¿por qué sigue con ello?
Yo votaría pues que sí que se quedaran en la Unión Europea. Creo que hacen más unidos todos che non por separado.
Non so cosa è meglio, se rimanere nell'euro o tornare indietro, nel senso che con l'euro sicuramente ci siamo avvicinati a molti paesi.
Scegliere di uscire dall'euro in quanto negli ultimi anni abbiamo subito un'inflazione molto alta.
Io ho cambiato idea poco fa, sceglierei di uscire dall'euro e dall'Europa perché credo che questo sistema ormai ha proprio collassato del tutto.
Economist Jeffrey Albert Tucker thinks the Eurozone has been troubled, in fact, from the very beginning.
Big fears of a domino collapse are very much real. These countries should have never been part of the same monetary union to begin with, because they have radically different fiscal policies and regulatory policies, and they're just completely different countries with different type of economic structures. They didn't need to be in the same currency zone. And just because you force a currency on people doesn't cause them to be united. Probably the sooner that the weaker economies break off, the less political division and antagonism and economic upheaval we'll see. Antagonisms between countries are actually more intense than they've ever been, mostly due to the euro, which was, as I say, I think it was a mistake from the very beginning.
Well, meanwhile, trying to help, a British shop worker thinks he's got the solution to help Greece pay its debts, or at least try. Tom Finney, who's 29, hats off to him, he's from London. He's launched a crowdfunding campaign to collect the money Greece needs to pay the IMF. Let's see how it's going there. It's gone up about €20,000, a bit more than that, 25,000 in the last hour. Tom says it works out, if it was to work, to a donation of just €3 per EU citizen, the equivalent of a feta and olive salad, he says. Just hours left, clearly. Still a long way to go, though. Good try. Now, let's track what happened to that ship, the ship that was heading to Gaza. Activists from that flotilla, the aid vessels to Gaza, they're waiting to be deported to an Israeli detention centre. Israel intercepted the lead boat yesterday. It was diverted to the Israeli port of Ashdod after having been intercepted by Israeli forces. The crew's attempt to reach the Palestinian enclave was part of a campaign against Israel's sea blockade that's ongoing of the area. Paula Sleer picks up the story and takes it further today.
We're here at the Givon Detention Centre, where 14 passengers who participated in the Gaza flotilla are currently being detained, among them an RT columnist. A short time ago, I spoke with the spokesperson of the facility, who confirmed that they were brought here in the early hours of Tuesday morning, shortly after the Swedish vessel they were travelling on was escorted to Ashdod port by the Israeli Navy. Now, we are being refused permission to go any further than here. Of course, we're being refused permission to make contact with those inside. All their cell phones are switched off. We haven't been able to speak with the RT correspondent since the ship was sieged in the early hours of Monday morning. Now, what the spokesperson also told me is that they will be detained here until they are put onto various planes and sent back to their respective countries. And she says this could take several days. There were only 2 passengers on board that Swedish vessel who were released immediately, and this is because they have immunity. They are a former Tunisian president and an Arab-Israeli member of parliament, Dr. Hassan. I managed to speak with Dr. Hassan just moments after he was released. He confirmed that everybody was okay, although he did say that the Swedish activists, that some of them had sustained minor injuries when the flotilla was intercepted.
Despite the fact that we didn't get to Gaza, this flotilla has achieved its one major goal, which is to attract attention of the world toward the issue of the siege and the blockade, the illegal siege and the illegal blockade over Gaza.
Paula Sleer, RT, Givon Detention Centre, Ramleh.
We asked the Israeli Defence Forces about an RT journalist who travelled with the aid ship and is currently in Israeli detention along with the other activists. We're still waiting for a response on that. We'll keep you posted. When we come back, WikiLeaks sheds more light on Washington spying on top French officials. Apparently it's been going on for a lot longer than many might have thought. We'll tell you about that and a lot more here on RT International.